Babe,
Yeah.
would you say this is a deluxe podcast?
Yeah, I would say so.
Are we a gourmet listening experience?
Oh, yes.
Well, just like all the other great podcasts, we now have a sponsor. Today's episode is brought to you by our good friends over at Taction USA. Go to www.tactionusa.com. That's TACTION USA.com for all your forensic supplies.
Yes.
Give us a rundown of Taction, some of their products.
Okay. Well, first off, Taction is owned and operated by active law enforcement, so they know what they're doing. And they provide some forensic supplies, some with evidence collection, some tools for processing crime scenes, and I'd say it's probably the best of any product I've ever used. It's made very, very well with a lot of thought.
High quality stuff.
High quality at a low price.
And I've used some of their products myself, even on scenes. You're our resident evidence expert. Is rain good for evidence?
No, not at all.
Probably not. And it's definitely not good for an old-fashioned plain paper crime scene log.
No.
It'll be ruined. So that's why you got to go to Taction USA and get a book of their crime scene logs. That's 50 waterproof pages with all the information you need to keep good records of who's coming and going from your scenes.
Good.
And I can tell you from experience, when they say waterproof, they mean it. So, see, I'm standing at a stabbing scene, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're waiting on the detectives to come do all the grown-up work for us. And it starts raining. So I'm soaked. The scene's soaked. The evidence is probably all right. But my crime scene log was resilient.
Good.
It's perfectly dry, legible, the ink's not smearing. You can get yours from Taction USA. All of their products are available on Amazon. Nice and easy shipping and everything.
Fast, too. Very
Yes.
fast.
Yeah, comes quick. So now, speaking of crime scene logs, please sign in and join us for today's story. Hello and welcome back to Crossing the Tape for another mini episode. Get ready to learn, sign the crime scene log, and join me, Brendan, and my co-host and wife,
Hillary.
as she learns you something new about Luminol.
Mm-hmm. So, for those of you who don't know, and some of you will know from TV, that luminol is that chemical agent that is sprayed on crime scenes to enhance where blood may have been and possibly cleaned up.
Spooky, glowing blue stuff.
Yeah, but it's really neat though
It
when
is.
you see it in action.
But it can be horrifying when
Well,
it's used and you find out, oh, there's that much
There's
blood.
that much. Yeah, I've had that moment. Oh, that much.
This wasn't a little bit.
And it's a bit smelly too, really. It interacts with the sulfur in the blood and it's kind of stinky.
Ah.
But you get great pictures and detect things you didn't see before. So I'll give you a little bit of history because that's what I do on the mini episodes. So luminol, it reacts, as I said, with anything, specifically blood that has iron or copper. So it's going to enhance that. And so where it all began, as far as I could see in my research, it began in 1928, was the first time a blood-enhancing chemical was used. And it was during that time the chemical really began to get its claim to fame.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because a chemist from Germany discovered certain substances could be enhanced with the use of an alkaline solution, which contained hydrogen peroxide. However, it wasn't until 1936 that it was verified that this chemical could be used for enhancing blood.
Ah.
And a year later, studies and research were put into play to confirm the use of luminol at crime scenes. Now, in today's day and age, there is the age-old question of luminol versus Blue Star and which is better. And I don't really know.
Whichever one you got.
Yeah. So I don't really know the answer.
The one your agency buys, that's the good one.
Yeah. It's basically comes down to what do you have. I think the last time I used any kind of blood enhancement chemical at a crime scene, I think both times it was the most recent times, which was still several years ago, was Blue Star. And it does the same thing.
Now, was that the scene where we met?
Yes, one of them.
Ah.
The scene where we met is where where I used the most of that horrific scene.
It was a lot.
Yeah, but we met, for those of you who don't know, we met at a crime scene. A homicide. I was the CSI processing the scene, and Brendan was the officer patrolling and kind of doing scene security, making sure there was no tomfoolery.
Making sure the people who were still at large and responsible.
Right, because they were.
Yeah, weren't going to come back and try to clean up their mess and make a new one.
Well, they already did clean up their mess, but that's why I had to use the Blue Star.
That's true. That's actually a perfect example. 'Cause, somebody at the scene spent quite a bit of time trying to mop up all the blood.
Yeah.
All the blood. Mm-hmm. And I mean, all the blood you've ever seen times 2. It was a lot.
There was a lot. And once we used the chemical reagent and enhanced it for photographs, we were all a little in awe because it looked like a pretty glittery lake. And at the same time, it all registered
that's all blood.
That's a lot of blood.
All that beautiful glowing blue, that's blood.
That's blood. And then, of course, that was the last thing we did because, like I said, it stinks.
And it rendered that person's efforts useless trying to clean up this scene.
Oh, yeah.
All the time they spent trying to make it look like, nothing here.
They didn't clean well. I found
for a panicked person involved in a homicide.
Right. I found bloody, wipies and stuff. So I had an idea of what happened.
Rags and what.
But yes, that's where we met.
And a perfect example. They tried to clean it up and make it look like nothing happened here.
Mm-hmm. But with the use
poorly,
of the chemical reagent, it brought it back up, and we were able to document it.
And how gross it really was.
Yeah. But it's, as I said, there is an argument with Blue Star or Luminol. I don't really have the answer because I've used both, and I've gotten great results with both. Mm-hmm. But it all began...
Maybe one's less smelly than the other.
I don't know about that.
Equal stench.
Well, yeah, it's the blood that makes it smell the most.
That's true. It's that chemical with the blood.
Right. But at the very least, you know now that it started in 1928 from a chemist in Germany. So we have him to thank for many homicides that have probably been solved through the use of that chemical.
Yes, for finding exactly where a scene is and where you need to focus your search for evidence. Mm-hmm. Look, everything's glowing blue over here. This must be where the murdering took place.
Yep. So, that is all I have for you today on this mini episode.
We hope you learned tons and tons.
And we hope you enjoyed.
Thank you. And tune in again for more fun cases and education. Mm-hmm. Or don't. But no, do. Please.
Please do.
Please do.
We enjoy our listeners.
And visit Taction USA.
Mm-hmm.